Yeah, so having a treadmill at your disposal is, at the current time, obviously a really, really great thing. Where people are really struggling to get hold of gym equipment. And it's just going to allow you to break away from road running and not have to rely on running outdoors as the only way of improving and maintaining fitness. I just kind of refer back to a video I did last year, just generally around how to improve and maintain fitness specifically for the bleep test. And what I talked about was, first of all, having this kind of cardiovascular foundation. So this is the kind of fitness where you can kind of exercise for prolonged periods of time at a kind of moderate to moderately difficult intensity without becoming fatigued. So what I would kind of term that is your kind of cardiovascular or fitness foundation or base. And then in combination with that, as you kind of progress up the test, you move into the latter stages, your ability to get into the line, decelerate, push off, turn, and kind of continually do that in an increasingly collapsing time frame, that becomes a lot more difficult, and your ability to do that obviously becomes a lot more important. So for that kind of fitness, that's where you kind of need to build this interval type fitness. So this is the kind of fitness where you can exercise very, very hard or potentially maximally. If we're talking on a scale of 1 to 10, we're talking 9, 10 out of 10 for short periods of time. And then obviously in order to work at that level of intensity, you intersperse that with periods of rest or lower intensity work. So those are kind of the two general areas of fitness that are really, really important for maximal performance on the bleep test. Obviously, specifically with regard to a treadmill, what I would kind of say is for your continuous type training, just always make sure that you've got a kind of very slight incline on the belt. So like I said earlier, something like a 1 to 2% is absolutely fine. What that is and what it kind of accounts for is just the kind of mechanical process of running on a treadmill is slightly different to running on a stable surface. So what you're kind of doing on a treadmill is just sort of bouncing up and down as the treadmill moves from underneath you. You're not physically having to propel yourself forward like you would have to obviously outdoors or any kind of stable surface. And actually there's quite a lot of evidence to show that if you do sort of the bulk or the majority of your training on a flat treadmill, that can actually make your running style a little bit lazy and kind of alter your running kind of gait. So that's kind of why we say always put a slight incline on the belt when you're doing any kind of treadmill work. The other area that I would say is good to kind of look at, given you've got access to a treadmill, and one style of training that we know again is really, really beneficial for fitness specific to the latter stages of the bleep test is hill training. So like I said last year in the previous video, this could be, you can structure it however kind of suits you, but just thinking out loud, something like, you put a very, very steep incline on the belt, and then you would do something like 30 seconds of sprinting uphill, and then you would do 30 seconds of rest, or, whatever it might be. But there's loads and loads of information out there around how to structure those kind of hill training sessions and those kind of interval sessions, and it's all kind of specific to your sort of own baseline level of fitness and your experience with it. So I just say kind of have a look online and see what you can find. But essentially, that's kind of how you would structure your training for the bleep test, and specifically how you would do that if you've got access to a treadmill at the current time.